If you were told that this would be the last week that you had to spend on Earth, how would that change the way you move through your day? I listened to a podcast recently talking about a few things, and I want to open this by providing a content warning that I will be discussing themes of existentialism, death, and our mortality as human beings. So do take care of yourself, and if this isn't really a topic that you feel would be healthy for your mind and heart space, you make that call for yourself. But I do feel it's important to reflect on our eventual mortality, because I think that is a way to humble and remind ourselves as we trace back to the 5 remembrances from last week of the impermanence of all things and just how fleeting moment to moment life can really be. And there's a theory that the cosmic skeptic Alex O'Connor introduced in this podcast I was listening to. It's the Know Thyself podcast with Andre Ducam. I will link to that if anyone's interested. And he has a really fascinating take into philosophy as an atheist and this idea of the pursuit of an ethical life and his perspective of reality, consciousness, God, religion, morality. But this theory that he brought up, which I'd never heard of before, and I find really provoking, is TMT, which is terror management theory. And according to this theory and this research, the death anxiety drives people to adopt worldviews to protect their self-esteem, worthiness, and sustainability, and allows them to believe that they play an important role in a meaningful world. And so this is really interesting if we take a step back and think about it. The idea that fear of death actually enables us to live a more fulfilling and deep-rooted, meaningful life. Because if you want to talk about leaving your impact or making a mark or your unique signature on the world, be that through art, service, your career, who you help, what you do, where you travel, how you land, and what you unfold of yourself in this stint that you spend on Earth, if you apply that to this theory, it really stems back to all of the things that we are doing because we know that life is not forever. There will be an end point, and so there's this idea of like, you only live once and live every day like it's your last. These like hallmark phrases of truly living like you couldn't get another tomorrow. Like, what if you woke up today and this was the only today that you got? And this idea of like nowness and just really centering and remembering that there is no later. And so there's this beautiful quote. I have a family member who always says it to me whenever I find myself sitting on my hands or not taking proactive action. And she says, if not now, then when? Why do we have this tendency to put things off? And TMT, terror management theory, really reminds us that as humans, we have this tendency to, in the podcast, they use the phrase anesthetize. So like an anesthetic, it's meant to sedate, it's meant to kind of tranquilize. And so our society is filled with so much consumption and buy this product and this service and do this thing and anti-aging cream and exercise programs and diets and all of this as a means to cover the fact that every single day on Earth is not a given, it is a gift, and we are moving through this realm on a journey with an eventual endpoint. Nobody knows what that endpoint might be. For some people, it might be sooner or later. It really depends on the individual, but knowing that society tends to bury that acceptance, that raw, real truth of mortality, how does that motivate us to live more authentically? Even as I just reflect on that within myself, I think, what is going to matter at the end of it all? We come into this world with nothing. We come into this world as a helpless, dependent baby, reliant on our caregivers for safety, nourishment, shelter, warmth, nurturing love. And we leave this world as the beings that we've walked through this life as. And so how can we do so in a meaningful way? And what is the mark you want to leave on the world? I know TMT can sound a little scary, a little daunting, this idea that all of our decisions are based out of fear, but fear doesn't have to be a bad thing. It's how we execute, it's how we open the fear, it's how we move with the fear. If the fear is a blockage, I believe that is an issue, because it's stifling, it's stagnating. But if the fear opens up a realm for softening, for compassion, for finding your purpose and moving through that, I see that as a beautiful thing. So I encourage you to think about that. And how does that land for you? What decisions are you making? And what are you going to do with this stint, this little blip of time that you've received? It is a gift. I wanted to share a little hack that I learned recently, and a way to tap into the body when you're feeling dysregulated, ungrounded, and just needing something really accessible in the moment. And I've been finding a lot of benefit with it recently, and it really just de-escalates your parasympathetic nervous system and really just activates feelings of groundedness, calmness, and just peace when you need it. And that is tapping. I went to a yoga class, and the teacher was showing us these access points, and so I wanted to share one today, which is just under your eye sockets, right on the cheekbones, and just with your 4 fingers, just a gentle tapping, just like that. And the duration is really up to you, but I find so much benefit in just coming back home to the body. And this idea of feeling your feelings in a world that tells you to overanalyze, intellectualize, and have reason and rationale for everything. There's a reason we've talked about intuition, gut feelings for so long, and that is because you're meant to feel. Before you could speak, before you knew language, before you knew how to write and read, you knew how to feel. You came into this world, you were able to cry, you learned how to laugh, how to socialize, but innately, we have this sense of feeling. We feel hunger, we feel lonely, we feel tired, all of these feelings. And how can you trace back to that? Check in with yourself. In moments where you find yourself feeling things, let the emotions move through you like information, and see what comes up, and know that you are not that, but the witnesser, and see how that changes.